Good day everyone. So today we are going to tackle about the cultural requirements of crops. So first, here is the presenters, Dela Cruz Jomari, Maca Gilberta, yours truly, and Dignos Wilder Jones. So first, let us know what is crop. So crop, it is a cultivated plant that is grown as food, especially a grain, fruit or vegetable. So crop, it is a plant that grown and can be harvested. So crop, these are grown on a large scale and are sold commercially. So most crops are harvested for food to humans and livestock. So cultural requirements. So the following are the cultural requirements. So first, we have the land preparation, planting materials, planting distance, the planting method, the fertilizer application, the weeding and cultivation, pest control, and the last one is the harvesting. So first, land preparation. So what is land preparation? So land preparation is that typically involves plowing, harrowing, and leveling the field to make it suitable for crop establishment. Land preparation releases nutrients to the soil, destroying or reducing weeds and ants' nests. So land preparation, the main objective of it is to create a favorable environment for the rice plants to germinate and grow. So, the initial land preparation begins after your last harvest. So, this is one of the foremost operations that are carried out on the farmland in preparation for cropping. So, land preparation is also called a tillage or cultivation. A crop and a crop establishment go together since land preparation influences the ability of the crop to emerge and produce a good uniform crop stand. So next is the planting materials. So planting materials refers to the type of materials used to establish a field or replace a banana plant. So planting materials sometimes includes the parts of plants used for vegetative reproduction. So seed or planting materials of a crop or a plant is a very important component of crop production as good seeds interacts with a good environment around it and determines the health of the crop or plant. So if the environment is conducive and the seed is poor, production is likely to be less. So next is the planting distance. So planting distance is the ideal spacing between the rows in your garden, provides ample room for your plants to grow and for you to work in. So planting distance, spacing your plants appropriately reduces the risk of disease in two ways: the contagion and the improved immune system. So it is easy for disease to spread from one plant to another if the plants are growing on top of one another. So plants are growing too closely together are not as healthy as plants with enough space. So in most cases, it is good idea to leave at least 18 to 36 inches of space between each row of plants. So large garden plants such as cucumbers, melons, and pumpkins have sprawling growth habits that grow best with rows spaced 36 to 72 inches apart. So next is the planting method. So it is the sowing of seeds directly in the soil, bypassing the need for nurseries and irrigation. This fulfills two goals the farmers have in mind, namely to produce food and to do this economically by conserving water, nutrients, and etc. So let's move on to fertilizer application. So fertilizer application is the supplemental application of plant nutrients to crop plants to augment the supply from natural sources. So this consists of applying nutrient-containing materials. So fertilizer application. So here If the soil is not replenished with nutrients through fertilizing, crop yields will deteriorate over time. So, careful analyzing and fertilizing of crops enables a chain that provides humans with nutritional food. So, the nutrients feed the soil feeds the plants. So next is the fertilizer. So fertilizer, it is a natural substance containing the chemical elements that improve growth and productiveness of plants. So fertilizer, pataba. So fertilizer is a plant food. So fertilizers enhance the natural fertility of the soil or replace the chemical elements taken from the soil by previous crops. So we have two kinds of fertilizer. The first one is the organic fertilizer and the inorganic fertilizer. So first, let us tackle what is organic fertilizer. So organic fertilizer are fertilizers that are naturally produced and contain carbon. So organic fertilizer are made from mined rock minerals and natural plant and animal materials. So no chemical. So inorganic fertilizer are a fast dose of nutrients, feeding your plants how you want and when you want. So they are fully artificial and manufactured in exact doses. So their nutrients ratios are clearly printed on the bag, and there is an inorganic fertilizer to meet your plant's specific needs. So inorganic fertilizer, also referred to as synthetic fertilizer, is manufactured artificially and contains minerals or synthetic chemicals. So it has a chemicals. So the next one is the methods of fertilizer application. So let me call on Welder Jones Dignos, for he is the one who will be reporting about the methods of fertilizer application.
Methods of fertilizer application. Basal method is a method of applying small quantity of fertilizer in a hole meant for either seed or seedling during planting and transplanting exercise. Your crops require essential nutrients to grow vigorously and provide wonderful yield. Mo siyang fertilizer nga natural, like organic na fertilizer, kanang hayop tayo sa hayop, like inana organic na sila, yung count lang sa but like ora to. Next, side dressing and top dressing is when fertilizer is applied between rows of young plants to provide a boost during periods of rapid growth and the nutrients uptake. Kaya side dressing kay kumubutang kag fertilizer sa kilid ka magbutang, like mag-count kag kanang mag-count ra kag gamay yun nya sa kilid ana kaya may butang ang fertilizer nya kaning top dressing kay like mura ra ka nagsabyak og isimong lola kanang fertilizer kay kanang imong siya apply like kanang kumuna niya is kanang palayan mo apply kag fertilizer pag isabiyag ra ba like inana. Next, spraying and foliar. It involves applying fertilizer directly to a plant's leaves as opposed to putting it in the soil. Foliar feeding is similar to humans putting an aspirin under their tongue. The aspirin is more readily absorbed into the body than it would be if it were swallowed. Kani siya is common gyapon sa palayan. I know natin knowledge ani. Like mag-spray rin siya sa palay. Nya kaning foliar mo ni ang sa fertilizer. i-apply aron healthy o nindot ang tubo sa atong tanom. Next, weeding in cultivation. A weed of cultivation is any plant that is well adapted to environments in which land is cultivated for growing some other plant. Many are quite specialized and can only thrive and reproduce where the ground has been broken by plug or spade. Kani siya is sample na kay tanom na sa imong tanom na isagbot sa imong kilid mong need siya ibto nimo mga sagbot sa kilid aron nindot iyang kuan pagtubo ug walay sagabal aron wala po'y kailog maor to. Thank you.
So, cultural weed control includes non-chemical crop management practices ranging from variety selection to land preparation to harvest and post-harvest processing. So, the cultural weed control is a part of integrated weed management which involves the integrated use of cultural, manual, and or mechanical control methods. So, one example would be avoiding overgrazing of pastures or rangeland using well-adapted competitive forage species and maintaining good soil fertility. So the next one is mechanical weed control. So it's one of the oldest weed management methods that require the physical removal of weeds by mechanical equipment before planting the main crops or during the crop growing season. So mechanical weed control refers to any technique that involves the use of farm equipment to control weeds. So there are two mechanical control techniques most often used are tillage and mowing. An example of this is a rotating hoe or conical weeder to cultivate, uproot, and bury emerging young weeds between rows of rice plants. So the next one is biological weed control. Involves using living organisms such as insects, nematodes, bacteria, or fungi to reduce weed population. So biological weed control refers to any technique that involves the use of natural enemies of weed plants to control the germination of weed seeds or the spread of established plants. Example of this include sheep to control tansy ragwort or leafy spurge, cinnabar moth, and the tansy flea beetle to control tansy ragwort, and the use of goats to control brush on rangeland. So the next one is chemical weed control. So chemical weed control refers to any technique that involves the application of chemical herbicide to weeds or soil to control the germination of growth of the weed species. So chemical is a very large industry and there are scores of examples of this, especially used in forage control. This includes bromocyanil and paraquat. So next one is pest control. An intensive agriculture involves pre- and post-harvest treatment of crops with a variety of synthetic chemicals generically known as pesticides. Pest control is the regulation or management of the species defined as a pest, a member of the animal kingdom that impacts adversely on human activities. There are also numerous examples of pest control, and this includes insecticides and to control insects, herbicides to control the plants, and fungicides to control fungi. So the next one is harvesting. Harvesting is the operational gathering the useful part of the plant and is carried out at the time when all the nutrients have developed and the edible parts have reached the appropriate degree of maturity. So harvesting, in simple terms, harvesting is the season for gathering agricultural crops. Basically, it is the crop that has ripened in a season, ripe, or the season when the crop is ripe, or the amount of the crop that is ripe. An example of this could be picking tomatoes off the vine. So that is
So that's all for today. Thank you. Hope you learned something from our reporting.